YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. Um, Now I'm a firm believer in everything happening for a reason. And sometimes we don't know what that reason is, but I just try to take things as a lesson and learn from them and move on. Yeah, I did this podcast for it was about an hour and 7 minutes long. I hit all the topics I was gonna talk about, family, the government shutdown, the Bears, and it was long because it was real passionate. It was a very passionate topic, and I said a lot of things that were probably controversial, maybe a little personal, maybe, and maybe some things in hindsight I shouldn't have said. And when I finished with the podcast and I went to go to editing and everything, I pushed play. There was no sound. The mic that I used was off. Now, ironically, because I do a video before to try to get the levels just to see if the sound and how I sound, the distance and everything. And I accidentally did a video after. Both of those videos have sound. The video I did specifically for the podcast did not have sound. So for 1 hour and 7 minutes, all you see is me moving my mouth. And I'm so disappointed because I said a lot and I really meant it, and you guys will never hear it. So to stay true to my fans, I'm still going to do the podcast, but I'm clearly going to water it down more than before because you can't recreate the passion that I had in that first podcast. You can't. And even if I tried it, it wouldn't be authentic. So now I have to give you guys a much more muted and watered down version. We still gonna hit the main topic, but it's gonna be watered down because after an hour and 7 minutes of recording in front of a camera for a video, to see that the sound didn't record, it's like it's kind of disheartening. But anyway, let's get on the topic. Family dynamics, family love, these things. Now, family, there's a textbook definition of family, right? It's the mother, dad, father, son, whatever in a unit, in a household, family. And also how we are all directly connected to one ancestor, like a grandmother on down. But certain terms kind of roll off the tongue, right? Like hamburger, peanut butter, jelly, salt, pepper, they roll off the tongue. But family dynamic doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue, and it should. But a family dynamic is dependent on a lot of things, right? Like growing up together, how you communicate, your values, your beliefs, all that stuff tied into one. Now, when you grow up apart, your family is apart, separated, broken. The family dynamics is going to change. If you have a sister that lives in California and a brother that lives in Virginia, or they live in the same state, but they live apart. The brother lives with his mom and dad, the sister doesn't live with the mom or dad, then the family dynamics are going to change. So when those people grow up, they're going to have different values, obviously. So the family dynamic is going to it's going to be different. It's going to be different. But what shouldn't change in a family dynamic is how well we interact with those family members. If you are a parent, you have kids, and they're spread throughout wherever, you should do whatever you can to try to help that family dynamic. If you have to get your kids together on the weekends or every summer or every other summer to just try to build somewhat of a bond, somewhat of a dynamic, then you do that. If you choose not to do that, for your own selfish reasons or whatever, maybe you can't do it, but you still should try. Now, if you can't and you tried, okay, but if you don't even try, now you are single-handedly destroying that family dynamic, and you're not being fair, right? Now, we want to come from a family that loves and respects and honors and cherishes and blah 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 blah, but that doesn't happen. We have people out here who think that just because they're a parent, they are able to do certain things or treat their children a certain type of way. And that's not right. But a problem with that is when the children or the family enables it. So let's say you have a relative who always curses at their children, always hits their children, always makes their kids read 3 books on a Friday or whatever, right? Now, 3 books on a Friday, that's cool. But cursing at their kids and hitting their kids, that's not cool. So let's just say you have kids that live under your roof, and that's what you've done. You've cursed at them, you've hit them or whatever, you've disrespected them. And you have a kid that lives underneath another roof that wasn't raised that way. And then everybody meets together. You had this family event, a retirement ceremony, a book read, whatever. And the father feels like he can talk to the kids that don't live under his roof the same way. They're gonna be like, no, you can't talk to me that way. That's not what I'm used to. That's not right. But then when everybody else says, well, that's just how he is. That's how he is. Now you're enabling that bad behavior. You're saying it's okay to talk to your kids like that, and it's not. It ain't okay to talk to your kids like that. Why even do that? Some people, y'all, just should not be parents. They just shouldn't. We can sit on our high horses all we want because we are successful. We have a retirement. We have a savings. But if you were a crappy parent to your child, or you neglected your child, or you hid your child because you wanted to keep a relationship, I don't care what you got. In my book, you're garbage. You're a terrible parent in my book. Okay. So family dynamic is only gonna be as strong as the one at the top of that hierarchy helping with that dynamic. And if that person is set in their ways, is ignorant, is abusive, whatever, then that family dynamic is going to suffer. And anyone who says, well, that's just the way they are, you're enabling that bad behavior. That kind of stuff. Think about the families who have the uncle or the auntie or the relative that's too touchy-feely or inappropriate, or they addicted to stealing, so they steal everything from everybody. Auntie Shirley steal from everybody, hide your stuff. She coming around. But why is that accepted? Why is it hide your stuff? Why not report Auntie Shirley to the police, get her arrested or something? Why not do that? Why do we hide and allow these bad behaviors and just brush them underneath the table? Is it our pride? Is it our ego? Are we going to be ashamed? I don't want nobody to know my son is a pedo, so I'm gonna just let him do what he does, and we're not gonna say nothing. When we go out into the world and when we go out to church, everyone's gonna think the Edwards family is just great. Like, no, you that's wrong. You are single-handedly destroying the family dynamic. And what's up with these families who have family members who are, I guess, doctors or surgeons or certified psychologists? Because you have a kid that's hyperactive. That is a thing, okay? ADHD, ADD, and they're always moving around and stuff. You have a family member, ain't nothing wrong with that kid. Just beat him. Just whoop him. Whoop his little butt. He'll sit down. He'll be calm. Huh? What kind of barbaric behavior is that? I should just whip my kids because they are hyper? No. But yeah, they'll sit down. You whoop them. They'll sit down and cry out of fear. But then sooner or later they're gonna be back up and at them. You just whoop them again. That's your solution. Just keep whooping them and whooping them and whooping them. At some point in their life, you won't be able to whoop them. They're gonna look at you like you crazy. I'm like, wait a minute, now I'm 28 years old. What you? No. Some of these people need professional help. They need professionals to diagnose them. They don't need, the grandmother to say, yeah, just beat them. They bad. We done that. We do that a lot in certain families. We diagnose the problems in the family. If my son likes to dress up a certain type of way, or my daughter likes to dress up a certain type of way, that society may deem inappropriate or unconventional. I don't want to say inappropriate. If my son wants to wear girl clothes or my daughter wants to wear boy clothes, somebody have a problem with that. So now my grandmother telling me, oh, your child just confused. You just gotta pray and get the devil out of him or whatever. What? Why is that accepted? Why are things like that accepted? Why not try to understand why they doing it? Have a conversation with your child. Don't try to hide it or be ashamed of it. You embrace it. That's your child. You've been feeling this kind of way. Let's talk about it. It's not my job to tell you what's right for you and what's wrong for you. I can explain things to you and give you the consequences, pros and cons, and it's up to you to make that choice. You're my child. I'm going to support it either way. You got parents that won't do that. If their child is a certain way, that parent is shunning them. Oh, you cut off. You ain't in my family. What? How do you do that? Now, we're not talking about disrespect. We ain't talking about a disrespectful child. We're talking about a child that is going through something that we may not understand. And nobody else has went through it. But we can't self-diagnose. We can't diagnose family members and say, it's just the devil. You just got to pray on them, or you got to whoop them. No. Family members really be needing help. And I come from that generation. I was a little hyper kid. You just whoop me and I'll not be hyper. And it didn't work. It did not work. Okay, let me just, spoiler alert, it didn't work. So why am I gonna take that generational trauma and pass it down to my kids? When you have a child, it requires patience and it requires understanding. And if you have a child with special needs, then it requires that even more. But some parents don't even do that. They just say, ain't nothing wrong with you. You just, acting or complaining or whatever. I don't have the ability to tell because I'm not a professional. I'm not certified. I don't have a degree in psychology. So let me get some professional help first, then reassess the situation and go from there. But you can't tell me that's the problem with your kids, Ziggy. You don't whoop them. That really? Yeah, you just whoop them and you good. Does that solve all problems? People that say, I'm glad I got beat or I got whooped when I was growing up. What does that mean? Help me understand, what does it mean when you say, I'm glad my parents whooped me and beat me when I was a kid? Why? Why are you glad? What did it teach you? Like, what did it teach you? Now I want you to stop. I want you to think. I want you to listen. Now I know that's in my little thing. I actually put that there for me because whenever I have a conversation or whenever I'm involved in something that's critical or whatever, I try to stop. I try to listen and then think before I say anything, before I respond. So before you respond to that question, I want you to stop. I want you to listen. I want you to think. Why are you glad your parents beat you or whipped you when you was a kid? Why? Because for me, there was never a whooping I got that made me all of a sudden become a better person or understand the circumstance better. I don't want my kids to tie doing something wrong with getting physically punished. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want those two equate because sometimes the punishment doesn't fit the crime. If my child pulls a glass out the shelf and breaks the glass, do I whoop them? I mean, if you're having a bad day from work, you come home, your kid break the glass. Oh, you breaking stuff. I'm gonna whoop you because you broke the glass. versus, hey, what happened? Oh, well, I was trying to get this and this slipped. Okay, well, take your time next time or pay attention. You know, a glass can be replaced. You know, just clean it up, throw it away, we go from there. Why can't that be a solution? See, it's easy to whoop kids. I've talked about this before. It's easy to whoop our kids. It's easy to curse at our kids and yell at them and make them do things. It's easy. But it's real hard to sit down and say, let me try to understand you. Let me try to figure out what is going on in your head and why you move the way you move. And if I can't do it, let me get some professional help. And then the professional can tell me. Someone that went to school, not my cousin who don't own nothing, ain't got nothing, live with this person, that person. I'm not taking their advice. They kids don't even like them. They didn't raise all their kids. I'm not going to take their advice. You need to beat your kids more. Yeah, I beat my son and the state took him away from me, but I bet you when they give him back to me, he gonna know not to do that again. What? Now I'm speaking on what I know. I'm speaking on what I know. This woman said, you need to whip your kids more. I whooped my son and the state took him from me, but when they give him back to me, he gonna know that I mean business. Yeah. Y'all, we come from a generation of trauma, abuse, and all that, but that don't mean we have to pass it down. It can stop somewhere. My generational trauma, there's why I do things, some of the things that I do is because of how I went through generational trauma. I shelter my children. I'm overprotective of my children because I didn't have that. I fended for myself. You know, I don't have any ill will about that because it taught me independence and all that. But at some point, a child shouldn't have to do things on their own. At some point, children need nurturing. They need shelter. They need protection. They need guidance. And when you don't have guidance, you got to figure it out yourself. You're probably going to make a bad choice. I'm telling you from experience. I had to wing it. And I made a lot of bad choices. So what do we do with our kids, right? We don't want them to make the same bad choices. We just kind of tell them, look, you probably don't want to do that. You know, go this way. But if we just doing stuff that was passed down to us just because, well, I'm going to make you do this because my dad made me do it and his dad made him do it. Nobody even know why they did it. Why you do it? I don't know. You just passing down traumas, man. Or you could potentially pass down traumas. Like I say, I don't want my kids to fear me. I want them to respect me. But see, the thing with family, some people just shouldn't have kids. Some people should not have children. I have friends who would definitely be better parents than some parents. Probably a better parent than me, you know? And it's like, the irony of it is, you got people that can just have kids like a baby factories here and there, just have them all over and don't have any involvements with them or use the government to help them take care of the kids. And you have people who were like, you know what, just let me have one. Just give me the ability to have one kid and I'll, nurture that kid, show them the world and make mistakes along the way. But I just think some people just shouldn't have kids. They shouldn't. And we all know this, right? We know there's people walking around and you just like, why do you have kids? Why? Do you have to curse excessively at your kid and yell at them? Think about it. Do you have to do that? Is the only way you can talk to your kid by yelling and cursing? If that is the only way you can talk to your kid, then you don't know how to communicate. I'm not blaming no kid. You don't know how to communicate if you can't talk to your kid. If you talk to your kid and it turns into you yelling at them and telling them to shut the F up, you're the problem. You're the problem. You don't have to do that. It's a choice. And usually the people who have the least amount of patience, understanding, selfish, egotistical, they're the first people to have to curse and yell and resort to that barbaric form of communication. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care. Because it's a choice. Being vulgar is a choice. It is a 100% choice. If you say something 4, 5, 6 times and they just not getting it and you resort to that, okay, I guess. But you don't have to curse at your kids. You don't. You don't have to yell at them. And this isn't enabling a child to be disrespectful or be rude or to put you and that child on the same level. It's letting the child know, hey, if we got a problem, we can solve it without trading barbs or yelling or cursing. Because sooner or later, that child you cursing at, they're gonna take that out into the world. Okay, they're gonna take that out into the world. Because that's their normal. Imagine coming home every day and you getting cursed at or you getting yelled at. That becomes normal to you. So that's what happened to me. That's what you're gonna take out into the world. That could be how you, if you don't break the generational trauma, that could be how you raise your kids. Why though? And then that same person yelling at and cursing at their kid will walk out into the world and smile and be so polite, so soft-spoken, so respectful. That's a problem. That's a problem. When you have kids, everyone should be treated equally. You don't treat the kids that you raised under your tutelage better than the kids that you had on the side illegitimately trying to hide. You don't do that. You can't even justify that. You can't. They actually need you more. And for some reason, we know the reason. You shun them, and the ones that you grew up under your roof, those are your special kids, your favorites. Nah. No, that's wrong. It's people like that who shouldn't have kids. Period. You shouldn't. If you don't have the ability to try to create a family dynamic, bringing all parties involved together, no matter who you offend, because the kids didn't ask to be here. Forget the woman. I don't want my wife to know she gonna leave me. Forget that. If she leave you, she leave you. But the kids, you leaving your kids for the wife? No, that's not how that should work. Because these kids now they grow up with however they grow up and fend for themselves and hope for the best. Now, when it's convenient to care about them, because now you're not financially liable or anything else. Now you want to be the parent to them. Trash. Absolute trash. Stick your head in the ground and drink bleach. Or drink bleach, stick your head in the ground, whichever one. Trash. Straight up trash. Now, families don't always get along. We get it. Usually, in my experience, it's either money, jealousy, or misunderstanding that kind of severs family relationships. And it's so sad because how does a family relationship end over money? And I'm saying that because how I see it, right? If you give somebody in your family money, this is just my take on it. If I give somebody in my family money and they say, hey, let me borrow this, I'll pay you back. When I give it to them, I don't even expect them to pay me back. I don't. I just look at it like, hey, gave it to them. They ain't, if they don't pay me back, the world isn't going to end. I don't, I'm not robbing Peter to pay Paul. The money I gave you was disposable. Okay, whatever. Now, what I will do though is you can't never ask me for money again. You can't. And if you have a problem with that, then that's your problem, not mine. Because when I gave you money the first time, you said you'd pay me back. You didn't. Now, if you would have said, hey, give me some money, I can't pay you back, all right, I can respect that. But if you say I'm going to pay you back and you don't, I'm not giving you money again. And I'm pretty tight with my money anyway, y'all. The little 25 cent I have, 30 cent, whatever I have, I'm tight with it anyway. So, but either way, I'm not gonna burn a bridge with a family member because they didn't give me money back that they said they would. So if you're gonna give somebody something, you got to understand 9 times out of 10 that they borrowing money from you is because they don't have the money in the first place. So it's gonna be that much harder for them to pay you back. So it's like, all right, I'll give you a couple $100, whatever, but if you don't give it back to me, cool. But you can't ask me again. I don't think that approach will break a family. Now, if you steal from me, if you steal my money, we ain't family no more. You are your own entity. I'm my own entity. Because I don't know why any family member will feel they should have to steal from another family member. That's ridiculous. If you stealing, hey, I can't defend that. You a thief, that's what it is. But outside of thieving, robbing or stealing from your family, Any other monetary things I think can be resolved. Now the jealousy thing is crazy to me. Why would one family member be jealous of another family member? We guys, we what I do, what you eat don't make me poop, right? That's one of the old sayings. So why, even if you win the lottery, you become famous, how in the world is that hurting my life or affecting my day to day because I don't have it? That doesn't make sense. Oh, well, they got it easier. Okay, even if they had it easy in life, that still shouldn't affect how you move. Put it like this: somebody won the Powerball, and I don't know where they won it at or whatever. And guess what? You still got to wake up and go to work and do whatever you do. Now, if that same person was your relative, do you think you still wouldn't have to go to work and pay your bills and function? Yeah, you would. So whatever they do, whatever they have, it shouldn't affect you to where you're jealous. And envy breeds jealousy. It does. And that's just something that I don't have the capacity to be jealous of anybody. This world, man, look, y'all, no matter what happens in this world, you have to live your life. No matter who has what, who doesn't have what, whoever, you got to live your life. So the whole jealousy of family members is another one that I don't understand. I don't. Like, what are you jealous of? Like, and most people won't admit when they jealous. It's that pride thing or that ego thing. They not gonna say they jealous. They not. I ain't jealous of her. I ain't jealous of how much you talk to her or how much yeah, you are. Because you wouldn't talk about it if you wasn't. So, but in the family, I don't think jealousy, that shouldn't even be a thing. I couldn't even imagine me being jealous of anybody in any situation in my family. Now, miscommunication, that's another big one. Sometimes stuff happen and we don't even talk about it, man. It just, simple. You had a family Thanksgiving or whatever, right? And you bring your wife and your kids and they're at the family, and your wife eats the potato salad that your auntie cooked. And somebody like, did you like that potato salad? And they like, nah, it's too salty or whatever. Now your auntie offended. Now she beefing with you. She mad at you. What? She don't say nothing though, but she don't speak to you. And now y'all go years and years, and next time you don't even get invited to the family gathering or whatever. All because of some foolishness, somebody didn't like your cooking. That's that pride again, man. That pride and that ego is going to be the downfall of a lot of families. So what, somebody ain't like your cooking? You think everybody going to like your cooking or the way you look? Because a lot of people put so much value in their appearance. They think, oh, this person got a frog butt, so I'm better than them, or no one should be physically attracted to them, or whatever. It's like, it's so much deeper than that, you know. But miscommunication, that ego and that pride, it will destroy a family dynamic. Maybe not a family, but a family dynamic definitely will be destroyed. Like, it happens, guys. And then, you know, family can't hurt you first. Family can hurt you first because family is close to you. Family knows your secrets. You want to trust your family. You want to think that when you walk out of a room, your family isn't talking about you in a negative way. So that's what can hurt the most. Someone that you grew up with or someone that's your blood relative. It could be your sibling. It could be your mother. It could be your father. It could be your kid. They talk about you like a dog behind your back. And especially when you do things for them, you're doing things for them constantly, and they just talk about you like a dog. Now, if it's something they've said to you to your face, they say to someone else, that's not talking about you behind your back. That's talking about you when you're not around. And you can't stop people from doing that, okay? You're not that good. When I ain't around, don't speak on me. Yeah, we would like that, but look, it's gonna happen, you know, especially if you're someone who has a certain status. People are gonna talk about you, okay? So if you say it to their face and they say it to someone else, okay, that's unfortunate, but that's still not technically talking behind their back. Now, when you saying stuff about them to other people that they entrusted in you to not tell anyone, and you go, yeah, she couldn't pay her bills, so she had to donate blood to pay her light bill. Stuff like that. That's not cool. That's not cool. And that happens in families. And that stuff can hurt more than when a stranger or a person on the street says it, because you expect them to say it, right? You expect a stranger or a person that don't like you at your job to say something negative about you. But someone that you help take care of, that you nurture, that you trust, they go out and tell somebody some shady stuff about you. That right there can definitely sever a family tie. Definitely. And it happens. It happens, and it's unfortunate. I don't know why it happens, but you got to understand, when we were younger, when your sister, your brother, your cousins, we all played in the park, right? Played in the park, swung on a swing, ran up and down the street, blah, blah, blah. But as we get older, our values and beliefs change. Your sister or whoever may meet somebody and marry them, and now they a Muslim, or now they Mormon or whatever, and they come back and you talk to them and they like, oh yeah, I don't do this, or we don't do that, or I don't believe in that, or if you do this, you're bad. It happens. But as long as the respect is there, right? As long as the respect is there, then there shouldn't be any problems. Once you get disrespectful, all bets is off. Believe in what you want to believe in, like what but don't be disrespectful. You can't disrespect me, because once you do that, all bets are off. You disrespect me, we can't really recover from that, because respect is paramount, and we can't recover from that. That does happen in families. People that you would like, how dare you? Or I do all this for you. I've done all this for you. I'm doing all this for you. You disrespect me and talk about me behind my back that bad, you gotta go. We're not family. Listen, I don't come from the turn the other cheek thing, because when you turn the other cheek, all you're doing is giving the person another side of you to slap you on. That's it. So whoever came up with that, just turn the other cheek, I don't come from that. Now, you got one time, you're gonna get one cheek. After that, we're done. I don't have a problem cutting off anybody. It doesn't matter. Once you show me that I don't matter to you, or I'm insignificant to you, then I'm going to give you that same energy. You become insignificant to me, period. Where I'm at in life, I can be this way. I can do what I'm doing the next 20, 30 years and be perfectly fine. So I don't need you if you are going to be disrespectful and indifferent to me. I don't need you. I'm good. And that happens in families. Families, and it blows my mind too, because it's like, how could you treat someone that does so much for you this way? How can you do that? How can you have children and acknowledge these, but don't acknowledge these, and somehow expect the ones you didn't acknowledge to respect you and let you talk to them any kind of way? And no, you can't do that. That's wrong. And anyone that says, well, that's just how he is, or that's just how she is, they're part of the problem and not the solution. They just as bad, in my opinion. Someone who tells me a person that's treating me wrong, I should accept it because that's just how they are. You part of the problem too. I don't want to be around you either. I'm not. Since when does the person that is always at the disadvantage in the family, since when did it become their job to make amends with the family? Reach out to the family? No. I'm at the disadvantage. Obviously, you should at least reach out to me or try. We don't even try, man. What do we do? What do we do is when our kids are hyper? What do we yell at them? We hit them. We shove a tablet in their face and just let the tablet raise or whatever. We don't try to figure out what's going on. What is really going on? Let me try to understand. Let me get some professional help, because this parenting thing, there's no how-to on it, right? So I need some help. It's okay to get professional help with a situation with a family member that we don't understand with our children, right? I can curse at my kids all day and yell at them all day. Easily. I can hit them. But what is that teaching them? Where's the patience? See, when you don't have patience and you're emotionally unstable, you should not have children. You should not. You don't have patience and you're emotionally unstable, you definitely should not have children. Maybe get a dog or knit a sweater or learn how to fish, but you shouldn't have children. And these children, once that behavior becomes normal to them, now that trauma is probably just going to pass down through the generations because they don't know any better. And I'll say this, good people are far and few. So when you mess over a good person in your family, this is all pertaining to family. We ain't talking about friends. This is all pertaining to family. When you mess over a good person in your family, good luck replacing them. Good luck. Because it's good people are far and few between. So when you do come across a good person, you might want to keep them around. Because when they gone, it's it. And then you realize how much a person is worth or their significance when you don't have access to them anymore. When that family member that's done everything for you cut you off and you need something, you can't go to them. Hey. But I also don't come from that narrative that we owe family members certain things. I don't think my kids owe me anything. I don't think they owe me anything. Now, before you get into the whatever you're going to say, just stop, think, listen to what I'm saying. We create children. We nurture them. We lead by example, try to give them a better life, yada, yada. If I do that and my kids grow up and go out into the world, I don't think they owe me anything. If they become rich, wealthy, and they don't have to work again, I don't think they owe me any part of that. I don't. Why? That's not why I raised them. I didn't raise them so that they can grow up, be successful, and take care of me. I raised them so they can grow up, be successful, and take care of themselves and their families. So I don't think they owe me anything. You got parents out here that be really thinking their kids owe them something. Like, I brought you into the world. You owe me what? What? And like I say, y'all, these are my opinions are very unconventional. But if you stop thinking, listen, you can understand them a little more. I know parents. It's like every other word is either yelling or a curse word, and I'm just sitting there like, I can't judge, but I can have an opinion. I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, you don't know how to talk to your kid any other way, except every other word is a curse word or yelling. But then when you talk to me, it's, oh, so you want to go here, you want to go there, you want to talk. But then when you talk to your kid, it's yelling, you mother effers. And, you know what I'm saying? Dude, I'll be on the phone with people and they talk to me, hey, what's up? How you doing? We good. Then, hold on. You little mother effers better sit the F down. I'm going to knock all you mother effers out. And then, hello? Yeah, my bad. I was talking to my kids. I'm just like, huh? Huh? Is that how you talk to your kids? And kids is learned behavior. It's their normal. It's normal. That's a red flag for me. Like, wait a minute, you might not be emotionally stable. Now, I'm not saying nothing's wrong with cursing, but do you have to do it? Do you have to be vulgar to your children? Do you have to? That's my question. Every other word you say has to be that. I just disagree with that. I 100% disagree with it. Now, going back to the money thing, right? Money can sever a relationship with a family. It can, but it shouldn't. My friend Dog, shout out to Dog Pound, he had this proposition, and it's not anything, it's kind of like group economics. It's not nothing breaking news, whatever. He had a proposition for me, and for me and some of our friends, and it's like, hey, let's all get together and let's put $50 in this account. Let's say $50 in this account, and when we get up to $10,000, we'll invest in something. Now, I told him, I was like, look, man, this is my best friend. I was like, look, I need some more I need more understanding. I need more credentials before I'm going to risk putting money into this group business or group investment. I need to make sure that I'm risking as much as everybody else in that group. And I have no issues with anybody else in that group, but I don't know everybody in that group's financial situation. Right? We all grew up together. We all know each other. Excuse me. That wasn't in my first take, but sorry. I don't know everybody's financial situation. I don't know everybody's financial literacy. I don't know everybody's financial discipline. So, oh, goodness gracious. So, before I invest money into this thing, I need to make sure I know that everybody can actually do it. Because when we talk about business, it's a whole different ball game, bro. I'm in a whole different frame of mind. Now we talking about investments. Okay, that's money. That's money coming out of my pocket that I earned that I'm finna put in this group with these other people. Do they understand money? What is their financial situation? So I told them, like, okay, well, I would need to know how much disposable income everyone has. And obviously I'm gonna tell them mine. We can, and it's not just word of mouth, right? You can't, oh, well, after I pay my bills, I got $300. How do I know that? I need some bank statements. I need a track record. Now, before y'all go off the rails, stop, think, listen. I need to know that you can make these payments. I need to see a nice history of deposits consistently in your bank showing that you have a steady flow of income. I may even need to see your credit score. Now, before y'all look at me and say, man, I ain't finna do that. Who you think you is? You ain't nobody. If you go get a loan from a bank for a house, a personal loan, you want to buy a car, any of that, what they do? Yeah, we need to run your credit. We need to see your disposable income, debt to income. We need to know that, and we need to see statements of how consistent you are. So if you don't have a problem with them doing it, why would you have a problem with me doing it? Yeah, we knew each other. We grew up together since the 5th grade, but that don't matter, bruh. I need to know that you can make these payments. And not only that, I need to know you have the discipline to, if something happens, oh, well, man, I can't make my payment this month. So now we got to pick up that slack for you. Or if we don't, now we behind on our goals, and you got to pay twice as much the next time. How many times do we have to be like, okay, well, he ain't got his money, y'all, so we're going to give him another month. I don't want to do that, period. I don't want to do that 0 months. You can't make your payment, you done. But is everybody going to agree with that? Because I'm starting to look like the bad guy here now, right? When I say, wait, do they have any assets? Do they own anything? Like I don't want to risk more. If I own stuff and I'm putting my money in and you don't own nothing, and sometimes you put your money in, I'm risking more. But guess what? When the reward comes, we share the reward evenly. No, that is bad business. That is terrible business. Okay? And what happens if, okay, now they didn't put in $2,000. They got a family emergency or family medical. Now y'all ain't got no money. I need my $2,000. Give me my $2,000. I got to pay for this. My son need this. My daughter need a surgery, or they finna take my house. I don't care. You're not taking from this money. This wasn't a savings account. This was an investment. Do you even know the difference between savings and investment? Because if you did, you wouldn't be asking. So now you mad at me. Oh, man, screw you. You ain't this. I don't like you. We ain't cool no more. You won't give me my money. Now I just severed a friendship or a family relationship because, so I told dogs, like, look, I don't know, man. I need contracts. I need signed stuff, and I need to look at some bank statements. And I don't have a problem showing my bank statements. You want to see my little $2 every month after my bills and my child support? I'll show it to you. But I have things that prove I'm financially stable, or I have financial discipline, because I've had them for a long period of time. Working at the same job 15 years, before that military 11 years. So I have that. But do you have that? And I don't know. And like I say, I don't want to assume just because we've known each other for 20, 30 years that this is going to work. That's bad business. And because I don't want to offend anyone, and I don't want to sever any relationships, I'm just like, I'll kind of sit this one out, unless I can get some paperwork and some documents, some legally binding documents saying, yeah, you got this, you're gonna do this. If you don't do that, that's what's gonna happen. And it sucks because man, everybody ain't the same in those areas. They not. You want your friend that you've known for 20 years to be able to do certain things and move certain ways, but sometimes they can't. They don't have the ability to. So it was a good idea, and it came from a good place, and it's good in principle. But when you look at the schematics and break it down, it's just too many variables for me. So I'm just like, dog, I'm good, bro. and that's my best friend in the whole wide world. But I had to let him know, like, look, bro, this might not be it for us, man. So, but that's something that it's one of those uncomfortable truths that I try to talk about on my channel. I don't want my stuff to be about like typical riffraff that's going on. We know the world is bad. We know the world is evil and cruel. But I don't care about this rich person and that rich person's problems. Beyonce, billionaire, and Nicki Minaj, millionaire. I don't care about their problems. The uncomfortable truths I talk about are things that people on my level can relate to. And anytime I talk about an uncomfortable truth, usually the people that's uncomfortable talking about it or hearing it is the ones that's guilty of it. That's just how that is, man. We all know we have a family member that's shady. We know this. We got that one family member that's inappropriate, probably did little inappropriate things, stole, did drugs, physically abused, sexually abused. We all have that, but we tend to just keep it under, push it to the side, out of sight, out of mind. Why do we do that though? Why? Why is it okay to let Uncle Leroy do what he do to the nieces and nephews and nobody say nothing? That's the start of generational trauma. When everyone just turns a blind eye, when everyone just disavows it. It is not normal to be raised without your mother, without your father, and be raised by a random person who was around your mother and father. That's not normal. You can't grow up normally like that. You don't even understand, you can't understand family dynamic. You know what your family dynamic is in that situation? Not being raised by your mother or father. However, you see your father raising kids and you see your mother in relationships, that is chaos. That is chaos. And how do you blame that child for growing up and becoming what they become from that? You can't. And they make the best of that situation. And of course, they're going to need a little help here and there. That's not too far of a reach. They ain't have a mama. They ain't have a daddy. But they watch their dad raise their brothers. They watch their mom take care of their mom's significant other and love and nurture them. So they know that their parents know how to do it, but they just didn't do it with them. What are we doing? What are we doing? What did you expect that child to grow up and become? And the choices that they made, what good examples did they have? That's on the parents. You're scum. You're scum. I don't care what you have. I don't care how many boats you got, RVs, and how many family trips and trucks you got, houses you own, you gonna buy. You're a scum, buddy. Yes, you're scum, ma'am. Because if you can't do the basic thing, nurture the child that you brought into this world, I don't care what else you do outside of that. All of that, as far as I'm concerned, is fluff. Fluff. And I am the guy to be disrespectful to a person that I don't like, that does stuff like that. You think I'm gonna shake your hand when I meet you and I know you put your stepkids before your kids, and I'm gonna get into that one too real quick. No, you're trash, bro. Trash. Now, real quick, speaking of stepkids, and this is just my personal opinion. Well, I talked about this too with my friend. Stepdads and stepmoms too, but I'm just speaking on stepdads. Yeah, I'll never be a stepdad. That word don't even, stepdad coming out of my mouth don't even sound right. I I don't understand stepdads. So you're basically you're the dad for the child whose dad isn't there, right? I'm either that or you married the mother and she had the kids and they become your stepkids. I disagree with both of them. I'm gonna tell you why. In order to be a stepdad, there has to be a dad, right? That woman you met who had kids, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna say a kid, even though we know they got kids. They had a kid with another man, and when that man gone for whatever reason, and now you feel the need to step in and be the dad, and you feel real good about yourself when you do that. You feel like you've solved some major problem. I don't agree with that. My first question to a woman who, if she wants me to be a stepdad, which I'm never gonna be, I will respect your kid. I will, guide your kid, give them good advice, lead by God. I'll do all that. But I'm not gonna be a stepdad. Don't call me no stepdad. My question to that woman is, why do you want me to be a stepdad? What happened? Where's his dad? That's the first question, right? Where's his dad? Let's start with that. So, because if he left because he's a deadbeat, right? He's a deadbeat or whatever. That's the common one. He deadbeat. You had a kid with him. So why are you having kids with deadbeats? That's a red flag for me. First one. Then number two, if he wasn't a deadbeat, y'all just went y'all separate ways, which happens. Then I don't want to be the stepdad because he's the dad. He's there for them. He's just not physically around. So that's their dad. They already got a dad. If that's the case, right? Like, oh, we broke up. It didn't work out. He's still in his kids' lives. Okay, cool. Then he's their dad. He get his kids, talk to his kids. Hey, bro, I'm Ziggy Doom. That's who I am. I ain't never going to be a stepdad. I can't even imagine. And you got guys that they wear it with a badge of honor. The world's greatest stepdads. First of all, they don't make shirts that say world's greatest stepdad. Unless it's custom. They don't make mugs that say world's greatest stepdad. They say world's best mom, dad. They don't have a stepfather's day. They got a father's day. So you can wear this stepfather badge all you want. But at the end of the day, you're doing a job that someone else should be doing. And you're proud of that. Not me. Not Ziggy Doom. When I was a kid and my mom had her boyfriends, and they would, tell me, I'm your stepdad. No, you ain't. I told them. You can ask my sister. No, you ain't. I got one dad. Yeah, he may not be around, and he may not be in my life. You can't say him, but I got one daddy. Willie Earl Johnson Jr. That's my dad. He's always been my dad my whole life. And he gonna be my dad. He the only dad I got. I ain't do that stepdaddy stuff. I did not play that. And I told him, you ain't my stepdaddy. You is not my stepdaddy. So for me, that stepdad word, it's close to simping, honestly. You meet a woman with kids with different men, and this applies to women too, because I know there's women out there. What about the men that got a lot of kids, Ziggy? It applies to women too. But I'm a man speaking from a man's perspective. You meet a woman who got a bunch of kids with a bunch of dudes. Somehow in your mind, you tell yourself, I'm going to step into their life and be their dad and just be this hero because I love this woman that much. Bruh, who wakes up and says, you know what? I want to meet a woman that got kids with different men and just spend the rest of my life with her. Is that your goal? Is that really your goal in life? And I understand love works in strange ways, but come on, man. Come on. Come on, man. And to each their own. Now, if you marry this woman, y'all are a union. There's no stepkids in the marriage. There's kids. There ain't no stepkid. Those are your kids if you marry that woman. If she your girlfriend, them ain't your kids, champ. They not your kids. So this stepdad you wearing with a badge, I raised somebody else's kids from birth till 18, and what? I've seen kids, because some kids, no matter how deadbeat of a dad their dad is, they love their father. I seen a man raise a kid as a stepfather from birth, well, essentially birth by 2, 3 years old till she got married, and she wanted her dad to walk her down the aisle, and her stepdad paid for the wedding. Yeah, yeah. And let's keep this 100% real. It's women that's looking for stepdads, because most stepdads is simps. It's women that's looking for a man to help them take care of the kids that they have that the other man either didn't or went on his way or whatever. And somehow it's dudes that just, they fit that bill. I am a stepdad to 4 kids, 3 kids, 5 kids, 5 kids. No, I'm sorry. And then for you to treat your stepkids better than your biological kids, yeah, you a special type of stupid. A special type of stupid. I don't care how you feel about it. You are a special type of stupid to treat your stepkids better than your kids. And I will never have a stepmom. I ain't never finna tell my kids that's your stepmama. Man, please. A woman come to me, I'll be a great stepmother to your kids. No, you won't. No, you won't, because I don't do it. They got mamas. All my kids got mothers. I'm good with that. One mama. We ain't doing this stepmama. No, they got a mama. They don't need a step. I just, listen, my opinion on stepdad, you might be a simp, bro. You might be a simp if you want to be a stepdad. A stepdad stepped up when the dad didn't do it. Man, shut up. Instead, you simp. And yes, it's women that look for simps, because simps are easy. You just take their money and they help you take care of your kids, and then you move on to the next. So yeah, I'm not saying all stepdads are simps, but it's a lot of simps that are stepdads, period. So that's my take on that. And this is my last little blurb. And this is a small one, but I don't do holidays. Y'all know that, right? And I don't like when parents try to take their certain values and beliefs they have and force them onto the children. I think children should have a choice, but we as parents, we sometimes do things to our kids that we want to do. Like, we get our kids' ears pierced when they babies. And for me, I look at it like, if they get their ear pierced now, if they don't want to have an earring when they get older, they can just take the earring out, the hole and close up. But if they ever want earrings, they got the hole there. Now, I do it with my daughters. I ain't doing it with my sons. My sons, you want to have earrings? Okay. But that, and if, like I say, Dad, you got my ears pierced when I was a little girl. I didn't want my ears pierced. Okay, take the earring out, the hole and close up. No problem. But, I mean, in all reality, maybe I shouldn't have done that either. Because you got parents that do things with their kids that it's for their own sake. And maybe it's not a big deal. Like I said, y'all, this is real small. This is petty to most people. But I'm not a fan of Santa Claus, okay? I don't want my daughters sitting on some man in a costume's lap in a mall to take a picture. To be a Santa Claus in the mall, you don't have to be a upstanding citizen. Some of these Santa Clauses probably on work release programs. I don't know, but I don't trust this Santa Claus thing. So I don't want my kids sitting on Santa Claus' lap taking pictures in the mall. That ain't even for the kid. Ain't no kid born wanting to take pictures with Santa Claus. That's 100% the parent. Oh, look at my child with a picture with Santa Claus. Yay! No, I don't want my daughter sitting on no dude lap. That's how I look at it. I don't care. I don't want no teachers touching my kids and high-fiving them and fist bumping and hugging. I don't want that. And I don't want my kids sitting on no Santa Claus lap. Shoot, and then it's so crazy because what is the story of Santa Claus? Comes down, he goes to the house, goes down the chimney, gives the kids presents, flies away. Man, I'm the one getting them presents. So then I get the present, and my kid wake up, see the present. They thinking Santa Claus that they took a picture with in the mall. Some random dude with a beard and a Santa Claus outfit. No, I don't want my kids taking pictures with Santa Claus. Forget that. Sitting on his lap. Who even came up with that? Y'all gotta think about it now. Stop, think, listen, remember. Who came up with the idea? Let a man in the mall or some random little booth, all these kids just sit on their lap and take a picture. I got my trust issues, won't let me look at that any other way other than bad. Y'all can say what y'all want. I don't want my kids sitting on Santa Claus. And clearly I ain't never sit on no Santa Claus. And I wouldn't pretend to be a Santa Claus and have my kids sit on my lap and take a picture with them. Spoiler alert for all the kids that ever watch this, there is no Santa Claus. It's just a man-made dude, and it's your parents. Your parents is your Santa Claus, okay? So if you leaving cookies and milk out, your parents gonna eat it. Ain't no tooth fairy. You put a tooth under your pillow, is your parents giving you the money. Easter bunny, stop it. Bunnies don't even lay eggs. I'm spoiler alert, I'm just letting y'all know. These man-made holidays and stuff, I ain't with it. I ain't never gonna be with it. But at the end of the day, let's just try to keep a good family dynamic. Let's not get jealous. Let's not have miscommunications. Let's not lose family relationships over money. And let's try to break the generational traumas. We can all do that because you know when something's wrong, because your body will always tell you when something's wrong. Don't ignore that. And most stepdads are simps. I said it. I don't care who's mad about it. But that's it for this video, man. Like I said, I had another video, but it was much more passionate. It was much more gritty, much more personal. But I think that happened for a reason because I think I would have put that on the internet. I would have had some phone calls. But this one was a little more subtle and toned down, but it's still around an hour, so we made that same hour mark. And like I say, man, everybody that likes, share, subscribe, comment, support me, I appreciate y'all. Always, y'all the reason I do this. I do this for y'all. I'm very long-winded and I like to talk. So I put this out into the world. If one person watch it or if 100 people watch it, as long as somebody got the message and they thought about it, they stopped and they listened, I'm good with that. But until the next YouTube video, be easy.